My name's Beth Marston and I'm part of the Health and Wellbeing team. I work as the Health and Wellbeing Support Worker at Clover Cottage. So today we're opening up the whole cottage, so normally it's closed off to the general public to be able to keep our sessions kind of as private as possible for the participants, but today we're opening it out so visitors can come in, see what we do, find out a bit more about dementia-friendly design, which is how the cottage was created. Everything has been really carefully thought out, so even these chairs, even though they look 1950s, they've been designed by a company that's care home furniture, so it means they're at a slightly higher height, which means it's easier to get in and out of. And the same with all of the dining room chairs. Everything's colour matched so that the contrasts are really good, so that if you've got any sort of deterioration in your eyes, you can see that. And the same with the flooring and the walls and the toilet spaces. It's all fully accessible for wheelchairs, everything's at a wheelchair height so that if we're doing any activities then people can join in. Even outside where the raised beds are, they're at a wheelchair height and also at an angle where you can lean across so you can reach the middle without having to like clamber on anything. So yeah, I think we learned a lot from our old house because it was very charming in its own ways, but had a lot of limitations, just due to the fact it was an original building on site. So I think we learned a lot from running groups from there. So when we were creating this space, we just wanted to make sure it was accessible to as many people as possible. Even in the workshop spaces, the workbenches are all at different heights, so if people need to sit down to work or are in a wheelchair, then they can still use the space, just like everyone else. So Dementia Action Week is so important because it helps to raise awareness of dementia and people living with dementia and also their carers. It helps to raise money for companies like the Alzheimer's Society so they can keep doing the amazing work they do. But it's also important to raise awareness of the things people can still do if they have got a dementia diagnosis and people who are living well with dementia. So a lot of people that we work with, it's about creating opportunities for them to be able to use their skills in a different way or be able to do something that they might not have thought they could, and that's what's really important, I think, to prove how valuable they all are. So I think a lot of people, when they are diagnosed with dementia, they can often feel like like their worlds can start to feel like they're smaller. They'll stop doing things or going out, and it can make it quite limiting. And what's amazing about this space is that it's fully accessible. It was built entirely with dementia-friendly design, so we've got like additional lighting in the ceilings. We've made sure that the colour contrasts between everything means that even if people have got visual impairments, then they're able to enjoy the space. So it just means it's a really safe environment for people to come to. I think it's having that space where people can feel fully comfortable. It doesn't feel clinical here. It doesn't feel like you go into a group because there's something wrong with you. It feels like you're coming and sitting in someone's living room and having a cup of tea and a chat. There's like quite a few of our participants that when they first started coming, you know, very low mood, things like that, but then now they're volunteers within the museum, some of them within our own team, so it's just lovely to be able to see people kind of flourish. I think it's also, it's something about saying you go into Beamish Museum, you don't have to say that you're going to a group, you don't have to say that you're kind of accessing any kind of support service, you can just say, oh, I'll go to Beamish Museum on a Tuesday. And I think there's something about that that's really special for people, and I feel a lot of ownership of the space as well. They can see things that they either had in their homes or their mum had or their nana had, and there's just something really lovely about that brings it all back. As soon as they hear the music, you can see them light up. Often they might be pretty much non-verbal, but once the music starts they can remember the words and they'll be singing along. There's just something so magical that happens. Dementia will affect a lot of people's lives in lots of different ways, and it's really, really important that we keep working with the people who are living with it to make sure that they can live good lives for as long as possible, and to keep them active and engaged. And just because you've got a dementia diagnosis doesn't mean that anything your life should change too dramatically. You should still be able to do things and get out of the house and be able to enjoy different spaces. So yes, that's what we really try and do here, is look at the things that we have and how we can do things so that they're in a safe, secure environment, but so that people can still feel like they're challenged and they're learning new skills, because just because you've got a dementia diagnosis doesn't mean that you can't keep learning things. So yes, so that's really important to us as a team, and really important to the work that we do here.